Bum, bum, bum. There you go. And yeah.
Lovely.
And we're live. We shall broadcast our mind control program across the interwebs. So, I guess the general idea is 1 hour fanfic and then 1 hour show script reading. Rule 63.
Although technically when we did this half-hour show.
Yeah, Rule 63 version.
Yeah. Which means I get to be Discord.
Was kinda hoping for more people, but 3's good.
And possibly Big Mac. It depends on what episode we do.
Plan was
Female shining armor, I was just thinking of that.
plan was keep Calm Flitter on.
Okay. So are we going to start with the fan fiction? Or are we going to start with the episode?
I think fanfic would be good first.
Okay. Do you have the fanfic?
Doc has it.
It's not pony related. Gasp.
No!
Mostly because
Blasphemy!
really, that's okay. It's Ninja Turtles and Warehouse 13.
Ninja Turtles! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with acne!
Well, they did have a bad guy named Pizza Face.
Because it's funny.
I'm going to make so many mistakes. Okay.
Actually, let's just do this.
So do we want to go paragraph by paragraph or character by character?
I would probably have trouble knowing when it's my time to read per character unless somebody nudged me, so probably paragraph by paragraph.
Alright.
That was a good show. Well, anyways, before we start, I should start posting places.
Link for
Okay.
boasting.
Hmm? Yeah, yes, one sec.
Link for boasting.
One sec. And paste. And let's do it.
I am. Okay, I already got that.
Post. Yeah, that's good.
Time for boasting.
Who else to post? Guess I could do Facebook.
Can I pop this out?
Okay, that's actually good.
Pop out chat. Okay, cool.
Oh,
I can do that. Then I'll put this over here. Then I'll scrunch this.
let's see.
Alright. Okie dokie. I've got the chat monitoring online. Oh, lovely.
There we go. Come join us, minions. Join us. In the description for this video, I should put shock. We don't just do pony stuff. It's just 90% pony stuff.
So far.
Yeah.
One of us should find online the mangas for what's it called? The mangas for Full Metal Panic.
That would be. There are places
Awesome.
to go.
That's a good
There-
show.
Yes, that would be awesome. Although next week we should really do Twilight's Kingdom, or Princess Twilight Sparkle, then Twilight's Kingdom, because you know that Saturday is the new premiere.
Oh yeah, I know you're doing it.
So next week we should kind of focus on, hey, here's a Rule 63 recap.
Yeah.
Previously on My Little Ponies.
And I'm thinking we should
That's-
also like dedicate maybe like if we don't have anything in particular going on, like we're just doing fanfics or 63 readings, we should probably go after doing like the first 30 minutes or so, just or however long it takes, just talk about the new episode, and then just go with that until it's kind of out of things to talk, and then just go on to whatever we're gonna do anyway. I think that would be a cool little thing we could throw out there.
It's like,
Yeah, get the little.
Yeah, and we're
Recap.
not hammered down to any particular amount of time for it. It's just however long it takes to cover it. And if it was a good episode, there's not really a lot to talk about.
yeah, be a.
We talk like 5 minutes on it and we're done. But if it's like
It's like,
a
sir, what'd you think of last week? Man, it was awesome. Yeah,
did you see
totally.
Fluttershy's
All right,
plot?
on to business.
oh good grief.
Yeah, and
Unless
also,
Discord's in there, then it would be a lot longer to talk about.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
it would also be a good way for viewers to join in the chat too,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
when we ever get viewers.
And then we could just put it on as a separate, cut it up and put that down as a separate little chunk of the thing, and just call it CMS Ponycast or something like that.
Which, putting it at the beginning is kind of the best way for that, because then they can watch that, and if they want, they can continue watching,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we can either have
Maybe-
it as part of the just record the whole cast and just drop it. Or
Maybe even
if you
have
can
a
get the
separate
editing done
icon
on
for
it
the
to cut it off and just make that a separate episode. The Ponycast, you have that as a playlist, or a Ponycast playlist, and then like here's our Rule 63 of this, and here's our fan fiction reading of that. Just cut it up into nice little chunks.
Have like a little icon with a pony, of a pony with the monkey cutie mark.
A channel OC.
Yeah, channel OC. A channel pony Sona. And have him like standing with the microphone, like a stand-up thing.
I might could work on Pony Sona. I'm not sure if I could do the microphone or anything, because I have no art skills. But I could I could work in an OC maker to make us a pony sona. Just design it at least.
Well,
I could
as
do
soon
that
as
later
it's designed,
after
it's
we get
easy
done.
like,
Yeah.
once it's designed, it's easy enough to draw it, you know?
Yeah, because then we have the reference. This is our reference piece.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I usually do.
Yeah, I can.
What I did with my pony sona was I took one of the online templates. You know, I just grabbed a template image and colored it in on my phone using my phone's Photoshop program. And then as a design, and then later on, I drew it freehand.
Zoid, okay. Okay, well. Let's see.
Looking for a pic that the people can stare at while we read.
I actually have a picture made for the page.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that picture cut it off. Kind of. It made it a rectangular when it was supposed to be more of a square. Oh, I think I have it on my phone. Where did I put my phone?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Turtles on a half shell.
Here's in a half shell.
Goes really good with red wine.
Really? Red wine with turtles?
I don't know.
Wouldn't they be considered seafood? Don't you usually do white wine with seafood?
I don't know. I don't like wine.
Me either. Reminds me too much of my sister. But I thought you wanted whining.
Let's see.
And that honestly is my response every time I go to dinner and they ask if I wanted wine. I say, nah, my sister's not here today.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Latimer.
Ninja Turtle Latimer?
Yeah. I can see it now.
Well, you know whom Pete gets along best with. That's not a spoiler, that's just obvious. Alright. I was unable to find the normal size picture.
The normal size picture. The worst part about a show is when it ends.
I know. I'm not the only one who cried during the finale of Warehouse 13.
Like, sci-fi. That's one of the only good shows you had.
I know, and Eureka.
That was a good show too. I love the crossover.
It was. Me too. I loved that little dork. Fargo. It's called Fargo.
Fargo the Great.
I am the great and powerful Fargo.
He went from nobody to leader by some
Of the entire town.
Yep.
Well, I don't know where that picture is, but I do have this one that I photoshopped.
Come on, can load.
I'm not sure where I put the group picture, sadly. Oh, here it is. Found it. There you go. I'm uploading them now to Skype.
Wow, it's cute. Give me a hug. What's that? Come on. Yes. Okay. This has that. This. Don't respawn. Okay. Let's see if I can do that. And then. Okay. There. Okay. And then.
Good thing we started early.
Yeah.
It's we're already 20 minutes into the stream.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, I didn't expect we'd get to it right away. Okay, that should do something for people to stare at.
Are you talking about Micah's boobs, or are you talking about the bottom picture? The shot.
Not the boobs?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Okay, I think...
I mean, can you blame her? She even seduced H.G. Wells.
Yeah... I guess Doc can do the first paragraph, and I'll do the last one.
You'll do the last one or the next one?
Well, I'll be the third person to read.
Oh, okay.
Hold still.
Things were fairly quiet.
I got a message that popped up. Why is Skype asking me about calling my call? I haven't hung up yet. Okay, you can go now.
Okay. Things were fairly quiet around Lena's B&B. Even though Lena was gone, her name was still on the small-town bed and breakfast that served as home to the secret government agents of Warehouse 13. The new owner, Abigail Cho, sat outside enjoying the fresh spring air and a couple of scones from the local bakery. The newspaper sat on the table beside the scones, crossword half done.
Ah, so this is after her death.
Mm-hmm. This is pre the last season, but after. It's in between the last and the season before it.
Ah. Well, Dexit is, damn it, is your go to read. I need to stop sitting on my hand. Let it fell asleep.
Stranger danger later.
Okay. Was it just me that dropped, or did the whole thing mess up?
Oh, so that's why it shows that there's a group call again. I guess the whole thing messed up and it recalled. Weird.
I recall.
I didn't
I
have
think
a problem.
I pressed the call button. I think that's what happened.
I still am at the same group call. 27, 20 some 20.
Guess Steph is just being an ass again. Whatever. Oh, anyways, it's your read Dex at the Do I Smell Stones?
Oh, okay.
Doing paragraphs.
Do I smell scones? The familiar and perpetually ravenous voice of Agent Pete Latimer preluded him as he strolled through the sliding glass doors into the little garden beyond. Potted plants and bushes created a gentle, serene feel around the metal and glass table and matching chairs, where proprietor and her breakfast were currently sitting. In his usual childlike manner, Pete reached for one of the scones, not even asking for one. The "Do I smell scones?" was request enough. Faster than even his marine-trained reflexes could register, her hand snapped up from where it was, holding the edge of the paper to swat his away. Her eyes never left the crossword in front of her. "Sheesh, you could have just said no," he complained, rubbing his hand gingerly. It hadn't actually hurt much, just a sting, but his pride was wounded, and that wouldn't do.
His brown eyes watered, giving him the kick puppy look that always went for getting him fed. But she didn't even look up. He was saved from having to further demean himself, thankfully, by his partner strolling in. Wavy auburn hair, still sleep-mused. Pete
Must.
Pete, stop begging for food, she chastised, taking the sight before her with a shake of her head. I was about to feed Pete Jr. if you want breakfast. You can always have some of his, she offered. Wait, who's Pete Jr.?
The ferret.
Oh, okay. Only half expecting him to decline, Pete was taking another longer look at those fresh, delicious scones. Then back at his partner, Agent Micah Baring, was as tall as he was, and probably make that different. Definitely taller than him in general.
Tougher.
Oh, tougher, sorry. In general, that she named her ferret after him always amused him. And the fact that she was offering food, unlike Abigail, was another plus.
Don't have to ask me twice, he confirmed, completely ignoring the fact that she was offering him ferret food. Food was food. At least that was his take on things. He led the way into the B&B, making it almost the couch before their boss, Artie Nielsen, walked in, case folders in hand. "Oh, hey, Artie. Breakfast?" Pete offered, really hoping Artie would get the picture and let him eat before sending them on another snag bag and tag.
To his dismay, but not shock, Agent Nielsen just shook his head, holding up the file folders. "You can eat on the way. You've got work to do." Pete's face fell, eyes darting towards the kitchen, then back at the folders. Micah, meanwhile, followed her partner at a more leisurely pace, grabbing one of the two folders her boss was holding up. The short, stocky man jumped a little at her, sneaking up on him, but didn't make mention of it. "New York City. There are numerous reports of science labs being broken into," he explained, as Micah skimmed through the folder.
Yeah, isn't that a job for the local police? Pete asked, eyes straying in the direction of the kitchen. "And can't just wait until I've eaten? I'm starved. This is cruel and unusual punishment." Artie handed him the second folder with a disapproving look.
Glancing up from her folder, Micah rolled her eyes at her partner. Even after half a decade, it still astounded her how he kept in shape with how much he ate. With a sigh, she darted outside, taking one of Abigail's scones. "I'll buy you two later," she promised, at the disapproving look in the other woman's eyes. "You know how Pete is on an empty stomach." Abigail nodded in acceptance before waving her off and returning to the crossword puzzle.
Strolling back inside, Micah handed the pastry to her partner. Better? She asked in her annoyed but trying to sound nice tone.
Pete knows the tone, but as usual, chose to ignore it. Will do. Thanks. He downed the pastry, practically one bite.
Good. Now, if you two are done, can we get back to business? Artie's familiar tone of annoyance mixed with impatience cut through Pete's happy tummy moment. The former Marine gave him a nod, finally looking back at the folder in his hand. It was Micah's job to read the case files. Pete preferred things with pictures. The robberies were all being reported as having been committed by a group of deformed freaks.
So, the circus's freak show is stealing sciencey stuff. And isn't sciencey stuff more Claudia's department? Pete asked, gleaning the important details of the case. Are you thinking this is another artifact like Lovecraft's key? He asked, finally actually paying attention to the case. A giant dog and a fish with arms and legs. Seriously, this sounds a little weird, even for us.
Micah shot him a glare that pretty much told him he was an idiot. I was pregnant from a keychain you almost not so spontaneously combusted. Your ex-wife became a queen bee and turned your entire bridal procession to zombies. The entire world, it almost ended from a flower. But it anthropomorphized dog and fish are unbelievable.
His hands flew up in surrender. Fine, you win. We'll go check it out, okay?
She nodded, giving him a smug smile, as if there was ever any doubt.
Good. You got that squared away. Now go. The short man shooed them out of the room, handing Micah an envelope with spending money.
A short time later, they were on their flight to New York. The 5-hour flight from South Dakota to New York gave Micah time to peruse the case file more closely. Pete took the opportunity to take a nap, only waking to eat both his and Micah's in-flight meals. Not that Micah minded. She was more than used to it by now. It was expected.
When they landed, Micah stood. Deprived of his impromptu pillow, Pete fell into the vacated seat, waking with a start. You could have woke me up first, you know, he grumbled, clambering up into his feet.
And you could have refrained from drooling on my shoulder. To elucidate, sorry. The point, she brushed her shoulder off, though if he had drooled, the motion would have done nothing to change that. It's more of a symbolic gesture. Anyway, will you get your pizza? Pete's eyes lit up, a dopey grin across his face as he slung an arm across her shoulders.
Said the magic word. Food.
Actually, she extricated herself from his side hug and proceeded to make her way off the plane, grateful the line was finally moving. I said pizza, not food. Noticing his mouth opening to comment, she held up a hand to cut him off. Yes, I'm aware that any food item counts, but New York and Chicago are pizza first, then hot dogs.
His grin broadened. You know me so well, Max. Don't worry, I'll save you a slice. He followed her into the aisle, grabbing their carry-ons, and following the shuffle pace of disembarking passengers.
How generous. Her tone told him she didn't actually find it all that generous. As I was saying, while you get your food, I'll look for patterns in what was stolen. See if I can't figure out where they'll strike next.
Sounds like a plan. So, where to first? Pete asked. But his partner was already opening up the Farnsworth, calling up Claudia on the steampunk video phone. When the young punk goth tech's image appeared on the round old-school TV screen at the top of the device, Pete waved over Micah's shoulder. Hey, Claude. He tapped his partner's shoulder, whispering to her. You said food first.
Brushing his hand away with a try the airport cafeteria, she returned her focus to the face on the screen. Claude, can you cross-reference the things that were stolen? Try to figure out what they're using it for, and from there, where they'll strike next. I have to make sure Pete doesn't cause trouble.
The black and white image saluted her. Gotcha. You better hurry. I think Pete's asking the flight attendant for more peanuts.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Just to be sure, though, she tossed a glance in Pete's direction. Good. He was just waiting in line at the pizza place. Call me when you find something.
Claudia's reply of, "You got it," brought an end to the conversation, and the screen went black again. Closing up the Farnsworth, Micah stood at the pizza line's exit to wait for her partner.
Pete stepped out of the line with 2 personal pizzas and 1 slice. At Micah's raised brow, he shrugged. I promise I'd save a slice. I didn't say it would be from one of my pizzas. He offered her a slice before stuffing his face with one of the remaining pizzas. Hey, what does Claudia say? He asked through a mouthful of food.
She's looking into it, Micah answered, not even bothering to chastise him about talking with his mouth full. Hell, she was one of the few people who could understand him, even with 15 croissants in his mouth at once. It was actually more impressive than it sounded.
Swallowing, Pete looked around. Any idea where to first? He asked before filling his mouth with a second mini pizza. You're making me hungry with this.
I was thinking, while we wait for Claudia, we can check out the last place hit. Do some actual investigating. Pete rolled his eyes at her. You meant food, didn't you?
Wagging his finger in mock reproach, he couldn't help but grin. You're forgetting the hot dogs, he reminded her. Can't go to New York and not have pizza and hot dogs. It's just not right.
It took all her willpower to internalize a heavy sigh. He really was like a big puppy sometimes. Well, get something on the way, okay? She offered, but was reprieved from her promise by the metallic bzz, bzz of the Farnsworth buzzing in her pocket. Fishing out, opening it, she greeted Claudia with, "That was quick."
You're not going to believe this. Which, considering all the stuff they've faced down, including time travel, that did not bode well. The crooks are trying to build a giant gyroscopic electromagnet. They weaponize it, something as powerful as they've got. They could shoot planes out of the sky, even reverse the polarity of the planet. Yeah, definitely didn't bode well at all.
Alright, where is the next piece? Micah asked, exchanging alarmed looks with Pete's. And how do we stop it? Just in case.
Based on the pattern of the burglaries, I figured the next piece will be tonight. I'm sending you the deets now. The sound of the clicking in the background indicated the hackress was doing her thing. As she say, a moment later, both Pete and Micah's mobiles buzzed. Pete fished his out of his pocket. There on the screen was a GPS map telling them where to go. A countdown timer. You better hurry, it's across town and you've got only 7 hours before they strike.
Pete jumped into the frame behind Michael, wrapping his arm around to show his partner the phone. Claude, you're as brilliant as ever, but why hurry if we only have 7 hours?
The genius smiled playfully. Tell me you're not going to stop at every hot dog cart you pass on the way.
Only everyone I see. I won't go hunting them down, he noticed the knowing look the girls exchanged. Fine, I see your point. Thanks, Claude. He stepped back, looking down at the phone. Like the lady said, Mike, we should be going.
Pete did manage to fritter away 6 of the 7 hours, just as Claudia suggested. They arrived at the lab only half an hour early, which, for Micah, wasn't early enough. She liked to have some time to come up with backup plans. Not to mention backup plans of her backup plans. It was something her last partner had taught her. He was gone, but the teachings remained.
Why do you need to be so early? We just Tesla them. Find the artifact that dog and fishified them, SBT, and be out in time for dinner. Pete offered, leaning against one of the less cluttered desks in the main part of the lab. Lab security was pretty good, but a badge and government ID was better. Personally, I say we could have stayed a bit longer at that sushi place. Those pizza pot stickers were delicious. And the blind chef was awesome.
Shh. Oh, sorry, your turn.
Yeah, shh.
I got it.
His partner commanded, dragging him down beyond the desk he was leaning against. They might have gotten the same idea. I heard something.
I didn't hear anything, he countered.
Keeping her voice in a whisper, Micah hissed back. You were too busy talking. Now shh.
Man, tell me why we're here again. You said it'd be another hour, a voice complained. As four shadows padded quietly into the lab. Micah couldn't see the figures themselves, however.
Another voice followed the first. I said half an hour, but I'd rather get here early. The early bird gets the worm, after all.
A third, younger voice chimed in. Yeah, but the early worm gets eaten. Not so good for the worm, is it? Huh. He couldn't have been more than 16. Micah was guessing closer to 15. What the hell were kids doing stealing parts for a super weapon?
Stop. There we go. Before she could contemplate any further, Pete stood up, weapon aimed at the quartet. Drop your weapon and put your, flippers up. Looked down to where Mike was still crouched. Okay, can I call it weird yet? Yes, gesturing with his head in direction of the intruders. In his hand was a Tesla gun, the clear gas energy chamber glowing with electrical energy, designed by Nikola Tesla himself, and vamped up the resident tech Claudia Donovan. It was even more steampunk than Farnsworth, which was, as his name suggests, designed by Phila Farnsworth.
Be there in a second.
Okay, inventor of the television.
Is that a real Tesla gun? Made into a handgun? The second voice again. He seemed to be the brains of the organization. That is so cool! Okay, curiosity was killing her. Micah stood up to see the intruders and froze. Only for a moment, however. She was used to seeing weirdness. It was part of the job. Endless wonder should have been called endless weirdness sometimes. And MC is with us, or Emic, actually. I just keep calling him MC.
I'm looking at the picture, and the expression on the turtle, the orange mask, is funny.
Michelangelo?
Yeah, just looking off into space.
Actually, it's more of a, I didn't do anything, look.
Yeah, they all have serious faces. Like,
That's actually...
Sorry guys.
it's fine.
I might drop out here in a second. We've had some problems with like our stuff, and so it's he said he may have to cut us off for a second to test something. So if I suddenly stop talking, or I have to run off again to handle that, then that's what that's about.
That's fine.
Oh.
Well, to catch you up, you are on Still. This was a new one.
Oh, okay. Still, this was a new one, even for her. For Turtleman, though judging by their voice, at least one was a teenager. She cleared her throat. You heard him. Put down your weapons. Whatever happened to you, we can help. What you're building, it isn't the answer.
Whoa, another one? Where are you two hiding there? We aren't interrupting anything, are we? Are we? One of the shorter turtles asked. They wore different colored masks. She figured as a quick identifier, though they did each have distinct features as well. The one who spoke had a red mask and a chip and a chest plate of a shell. near his shoulder. He seemed the most scarred of the four, if you count scratches and chips on his shell as scars.
We're government agents, Micah informed him, irritated by the turtle's implication. I'm Micah Baring, and this is my partner, Pete Latimer.
The orange one piped up. He was the youngest sounding, and the shortest. Dude, that is so cool. I'm Micah Langelo. You two should switch last names, then we totally have the same name. Clearly wasn't very bright. That, or he played dumb even better than Pete did. The red one smacked him in the back of the head. Ow, what was that for?
Being stupid. Need another dose of education? Red answered, cracking his knuckles expectantly.
No, I'm good, Michelangelo. Though she was pretty sure it was just Michelangelo, replied.
The blue one, whose voice she hadn't heard yet, finally spoke. What kind of government agents? He asked. He seemed to be the leader, at least like a leader should.
Secret Service, retrieving her ID from her pocket. She showed it to him. Her badge was already clipped to her belt next to her gun.
Michelangelo rolled his eyes. Duh, it's not a secret if you tell everybody. You're really not good at keeping secrets, are you? This earned another thwack from Red. Would you cut that out?
Pete lowered his Tesla. He didn't holster it. Giving the orange turtle a commiserating look, he rubbed his upper arm. Micah's usual spot to hit him. I know the feeling all too well. Mike's here's pretty violent too.
Only when you deserve it. Pocketing her ID again, Micah got back to business. How did you get turned into turtles? Was it something you drank? Something you all came in contact with?
You aren't amazed by giant talking turtles? Blue asked, surprised.
Pete shrugged. We've dealt with some pretty weird stuff, he answered honestly. It was our job to keep the warehouse secret, but when someone has been whammied by an artifact, sometimes a little glimmer of the truth could make a world of difference. And he was getting good vibes off these guys.
Weirder than four talking anthropomorphized turtles? The purple masked turtle asked, stunned.
Pete went to holster his Tesla, but a really bad vibe told him not to. Well, we were expecting you to be an anthro-what's-its-fish and werewolf, so yeah.
Michelangelo pounded his fist into his hand in recognition. Dog pounded fish face, he informed the agents. We're here to stop them too.
Yeah, and we don't need some suits getting in the way, Red informed them, gesturing to elucidate his point. These guys are really dangerous, highly trained ninjas with an army of alien robots and other not-so-highly trained ninjas. Your little ray gun won't do much against that. Just leave it to us, alright? He pointed to himself before crossing his arms.
He tossed a glance at his partner. She hated being told she couldn't do something, especially when she was made to sound incompetent or too weak for it. You realize she's got the gun. And a temper? Pete warned, looking back to the turtle quartet.
Alright, we've got time. Bring it. Red pulled his size from his belt, taking on a fighting stance. I could use the warm-up.
Micah took a step forward, and only to be stopped by alert bleeping in tandem from both her and Pete's phones. Maybe after you protect the induction coil from your friend, she told him, shutting off her alarm and retrieving her gun. She looked to Pete, who was fighting to turn his phone's alarm off. You ready?
With a relieved sigh, he finally got it turned off and returned his mobile to his pocket. Whenever you are, he answered, frowning. Whatever's coming is very not good. I'm vibing like crazy, he warned, just as the front door of the lab was blown off its hinges. The otherwise pristine whiteness of the lab was filled with a cloud of dust and papers, blown around at the stirred air. It was followed closely by a giant canid and a man-sized fish with arms and mechanical legs. Seriously, can we call this weird now? Pete asked. Once the pair squeezed through the door, they fanned out, followed closely by a group of masked, pajama-clad ninjas. It looked like they walked right out of some old Bruce Lee film or some comic book. Behind them was even weirder. Mechanical men, robots of some blue, some silver, all with pink brains in their abdomen. The rest of the vast room surrounding the 6 heroes. Or, at least that's how Pete narrated it to himself. Okay, I'm calling this the weirdest snag in the history of the warehouse. Let's see HG fight off alien brain bots.
Dude, I'm the one that names things around here, Michelangelo countered. Besides, they already have a name. It's Krang. After a moment's thought, he added, I do like Brainbot, though.
Any further conversation was cut off by the sound of dozens of alien guns locking into place around them from all sides.
It's green time, the 4 turtles shouted together. Micah thought it was a weird battle cry, but it wasn't any stranger than, let's do this, or something. The 4 teams backed up, forming a circle around the agents, weapons at the ready. At least they seemed to be experienced fighters. Considering the number of opponents and how rusty she was at hand-to-hand, that was a relief. She made a note to practice Kempo with it. HG or Claudia more, if they made it out of this alive, and preferably unscathed.
The first barrage of magenta phaser fire came, blocked by the expert parries of the teen martial artist.
Are you still reading because it cut out?
I think he might... Of course, there's probably a call.
It says he's still in it.
I have a message that popped up. There's a problem with this call. Hold on while we try to get the call back. Skype, why do you have to be an ass? I mean, really?
Always like that. And just when it gets to the fun, violent parts.
I know, right? What?
This story was written right before the first season finale, by the way, so just as reference.
So, did you say first season finale?
Mm-hmm. Of the Turtles.
Oh, okay.
Right after the 5th season finale of the Warehouse 13.
I think Dex may be gone for the time being, like he said he would. I guess I'll take his place then. Okay, so where was I?
The first barrage of magenta phaser fire.
The first barrage of magenta phaser fire came blocked by the expert parries of teen martial artists. The blue-clad turtle used his twin swords to reflect the laser blasts back at the alien that fired it. Purple used his staff to yank the Krang's weapon from its mechanical hands, causing it to skid to a halt at her and Pete's feet. Michelangelo spun his nunchucks, clanging two cranks together. Red ran into the line head-on, which, considering that size for manly melee weapons, made sense. She watched a moment impressive skills these kids exhibited, but for every Krang they took down, it seemed another, the ninja, took its place.
Not being one to let the boys have all the fun, Micah aimed her gun at the squirming brain in the center of the robots. The bullet struck home, right between the brain's beady yellow eyes. The Krang brain exploded, chunks of green and pink alien slime getting all over the floor, clumping disgustingly in the dust. The body crumpled without the Krang at the helm.
The ones that are known as the Turtles have brought ones which are called humans to fight on the side of the ones known as the Turtles. Okay? The one who is the human female is a threat to the ones known as Krang. One of the blue bots intoned, It sounded so ridiculously robotic she couldn't help but laugh. I forgot that's how that sounded like. That and its wording was downright idiotic. The ones who are Krang must make the ones who is the human female to be eliminated. The entire army of robots turned her at once, ignoring their fight with the turtles. That must have hurt you to write that.
Oh, yeah. I think I got the big character pretty well. Mike, I hope you've got a plan, Pete asked her, aiming his Tesla at the oncoming horde. First shot took down 3 at once, causing the bots to spasm under the electric charge. Sadly, the brains inside remained unharmed. He was kinda hoping they'd explode like the ones she shot did. They did, however, climb out of the chest cavity, pink tentacles dragging them across the room towards them. Uh-oh. Pete hazarded a glance at his partner, whose biggest fear was none other than tentacles.
Micah saw them dragging their slimy bodies across the ground, leaving a stream of, she could only guess what, in their wake. A crazy look crossed her features as she shot the creatures, causing each to want to explode in a gooey mess of lime green and pastel pink. Ugh. I'm not hungry anymore.
Like my descriptive?
Mm-hmm.
The turtles stopped fighting, watching the insane agent literally blow the brains out of the thing. Mecha shot at one of the bots, missing it by a hair and striking the water cooler a few yards behind it. Ha! The one who is the human female has missed the target that is Krang. The one known as Krang will not miss the target that is the one that is the human female. The blue Krang droned cockily. She didn't realize robots could even sound cocky. But this one did.
I wouldn't be too sure, she retorted, turning to look behind her. Pete had holstered Tesla, opting to use the alien's weapon against him. The turtles had turned their focus on the human foes for the time being.
You cut out. Did you finish?
Yeah, I did.
Oh. Beyond the fighting, fish sticks and dog breath were heading towards the secure end of the lab, where the inductor coil was kept. Guys? She called to the turtles and her partner. When they looked at her, she gestured towards the puddle forming beneath the feet of the robots. Push them back! Pete, the Tesla!
Realizing what she was planning, but not wanting to tip the Krang off, Purple nodded. You heard the lady. Push them back.
Why don't we just kick their butts instead? Michelangelo asked, earning a facepalm from his friends.
Because they seem a little messy covered in their friends and all. I think they need to wash off, Micah answered, heading in the opposite direction.
Oh, okay. God, he was simple. Which, in that instance, was a good thing. The turtles guided the robots and the pajama-clad enemy towards the ever-growing puddle, being careful not to step in the water themselves. Or at least 3 were careful not to. Purple did his best to keep Michelangelo a safe distance from the puddle.
Micah, meanwhile, followed the 2 animals to the back of the lab, letting off a warning shot that very narrowly missed the dog. Next one goes to that furry head of yours, and if you don't believe me, ask the remaining squid brain if I'm joking.
After rounding up as many foes as they could, Pete aimed his Tesla at the puddle beneath their feet. This may come as a shock. He squeezed the trigger, and a stream of electricity shot out, zapping everyone touching the puddle with enough juice to render them unconscious. The Krang brains fled, obviously afraid of the one who is the human female, doing to them what she had done to so many of them.
As the pile of enemies at their feet, Michelangelo laughed.
Booyakasha.
Booyakasha. Nice moves for a human. Give me 3. He held his 3-digit hand, which to his surprise and elation, Pete high-fived. I'd say those guys are catching some zzzz instead of some zzz. He made a zappy sound, get it? Because they were zapped.
We get it, Red answered in annoyance.
Pete actually laughed. Another thing Michelangelo brothers never did as jokes. Hey, finally someone with their sense of humor. Mike never gets my jokes. Think y'all got what the buzz was about? He asked. Michelangelo laughed. The other 3 turtles just face-palmed.
Great! Another Mikey. Just what the world needs, Red muttered. Lude nodded solemnly.
Dude, you're so cool. Where's your partner? My Gojo asked, looking around at the far end of the lab. Behind a plexiglass wall stood Micah, gun trained on the two other animal people. She's pretty cool too, but we should probably go help her, the orange masked turtle suggested, pointing towards the bizarre tableau behind the window.
Tableau.
Tableau, tableau, tableau.
Booyakasha is the new Cowabunga.
Ah, I prefer Cowabunga.
Yeah, Booyakasha kind of rolls too. They're both good. Micah had the mutant pair a safe distance from herself, gun trained on the dog's face. Don't you know it's not fair to bring a gun to a mutant fight? Dog Pound offered, giving it to the wolfish grin. As the turtles entered in behind Micah, he looked at them in cruel amusement. Can't beat us on your own, so you bring a human with a pea shooter? His voice was a low, angry growl. Micah shot his tail, eliciting an involuntary yelp.
You really don't want to mess with me, Dog Breath. She warned. You guys alright? Without looking away, she called over her shoulder. Pete?
Michelangelo spoke up. One, I'm the one who makes the names. He's Dog Pound, not Dog Breath. Two, Pete is awesome! And he has really epic one-liners. And three, right, that was a great idea with the puddle. Those two are the last ones left.
Dog Pound looked past him into the office part of the lab. All that was left of the battle was a big pile of metal and custom villains, along with a huge mess of alien slime and brain juice. It took 2 humans to do what 4 of you couldn't. I'm not impressed.
Hey, they're here for you, not us, dog boy, Red warned.
Magancho interjected with, "That's Dog Pound."
Red shrugged at his dim-witted fellow turtle. Whatever. Turning back to Dog Pound, he continued, They're Secret Service. What'd you do? Hump the president's leg?
Dog Pound laughed at the shorter turtle who held his...
Lunged.
Oh, sorry, lunged. That shorter who held his size at the ready. Micah cocked her gun, firing one of the spikes off the Canage's right shoulder. It was a match. His broken skull was spike on his left one. Do I have to tell you again? The dog's pointy ears fell back against his broad head. As he took a step back, his eyes smoldered angrily at her. But he didn't make a move. Now, we'll let you go. But not with the device. Take your goons and run, tail behind your legs. Back to your leader. He may be merciful, but if you try to leave with the coil, I definitely won't.
Dog Pound and Fishface looked at each other, debating which was the worst face, facing down the shredder or this gun-toting female outfed. They opted for living to fight another day. They could come back later for the coil, and could always blame someone else for their failure. After all, it was the Krang's plan. The pair fled as quickly as they could, while retaining a modicum of pride. Welcome back, Lex.
Hey, he was testing the line, so it cut it out. Where are we?
The turtles watched them leave before turning an impressed gaze. It's your read.
Wow, are we...
Yeah, nice timing.
One second.
Cut out.
Let me check. Let me see if I can't find Modicrum. That's probably... there we go. Found it. The turtles watched them leave before turning an impressed gaze on the woman with her gun. A smirk played at her lips as she holstered her weapon. What was that about getting in the way? She asked Red teasingly. He frowned, but couldn't help the little sparkle of admiration in his eyes.
Well, you cheated, he stammered after taking a moment to regain his composure. He added, a ninja doesn't have to rely on guns. A ninja relies on his strength and skill. His arms crossed stiffenly, while the other turtles just gave her an impressed cheer.
And one of my skills is with a gun, she added smugly.
Now, let's take this induction coil so they can't get their hands on it and get out of here. The smell of rotting aliens is making me sick.
With a nod, Pete and Purple picked up the device as Blue led the way, using their entrance as an exit. Stepping over goo and robot parts, Micah picked up one of the ray guns and a sword from one of the unconscious ninjas, before following Pete and the turtles.
Outside, Micah took a deep breath of fresh air, looking around for the turtles. It kind of drew her attention downward. "You guys coming?" Red asked, peering out from a manhole, because things weren't fucked up enough as it was. The turtles lived in the sewer. Okay. Technically, it's been an hour.
Right. All right.
We should remember
This last paragraph.
Yes, last paragraph.
Those little symbols are dividers.
Okay.
Right, I'll be right there. She looked behind her for Pete, only to spot him climbing into the sewer as well. Throwing up her hands in surrender, she sighed. She tied the ray gun to her belt, then slung the sheathed sword over her shoulder. The sound of sirens grew nearer, hastening her retreat into the sewer. The manhole cover was a bit heavy for her, but she managed. She just masterminded the defeat of a whole army and took down a behemoth of a dogman. She didn't need help with a little manhole cover.
Okay, let's remember where we are. I'm totally
And if you
gonna-
notice, each of the dividers have a little something to do with the thing. Although, because of the formatting of fanfiction.net, they cut out some of them,
Yeah,
sadly.
really.
Like the greater than less than signs, which were used as like whiskers and that.
Lovely. Well, let me save this story in my favorites, so I know I find it when I need it again. And now time to go into favorites. Go to the script for the show,
And letter
the transcript.
here is the link for that. And MX, if you want to join in, you've been quiet, but I know you're there.
I know you're there. You can't hide from us.
Transcript. There it is.
In one sec, I need to stop the stream, save the stream, and then restart the stream.
You can't edit
Loki,
it?
Loki.
Well, I can, but it's kind of annoying. Try to find the spot where it, separates.
Okay.